And a good Sunday afternoon to you. This is Roger Hill of Weathering Heights. This is the Velco Weather Hazards Outlook. This is valid the rest of today, Sunday, through next Saturday, April the 30th. Well, you're looking at the MODIS picture of the day. This is actually taken yesterday. And a couple interesting things. You can see J Peak's a little bit of snow that they've got. Also, of course, on Mount Mansfield, Spruce Peak as well. It looks like around the Sugarbush region you can see a little bit of the ski runs here, as well as around Killington. It really shows up well, of course, atop Mount Washington and a few other of the spots down the Southern Green Mountains, Mount Snow, for example. The other thing we can see here is the lighter brown colors as opposed to a darker green. And this is associated without any forest canopy yet, no leaf out as of yet. So keeping a close eye on that. I'm expecting leaf out to start to happen at least in the southern Vermont, probably between the first and second week of May, and that will creep up into the higher terrain. It'll also happen in many of our lower elevations and northern areas, such as the Champlain Valley. But we're not there yet, and we have some time yet to go. But you can see where the darker browns are here. This is basically deciduous tree cover, and of course where their conifers are, you can see that greener color, mostly in the higher terrain of the Spine of the Green Mountains, the Worcester Range, and some of our local higher mountains in parts of the Northeast Kingdom, and of course down across southern Vermont as well. Unsettled weather will arrive later in the day on Monday, tomorrow, and this will last into Monday night and Tuesday with some higher terrain wet snow now accumulating, it looks like, in our local higher terrain, generally off the valley floors, but without any utility impacts anticipated at this time. The best chance for this would be across central and southern Vermont, and it should be monitored, but it doesn't look like it's going to be a big deal, but just a travel issue. Days with the worst fire danger this week, we are into the thick of Vermont's fire season with very low relative humidities on many, many days to come. We're looking at that fire danger to be highest and the relative humidity lowest, as well as some gusty winds, and it's most likely to happen on Wednesday. That's the target date for that, as well as occurring right now with very low relative humidities on this Sunday afternoon. This will, of course, you'll see relative humidities increase as we get towards sunset and during the nights. Now, possibly Friday, we may see a repeat of what we have on Wednesday, but the winds look to be lower, and the relative humidity, anyway, looks to be a little bit higher. We do have one gradient wind gust day. That looks to also coincide with Wednesday, so fairly strong wind gusts around 30 to 40 miles per hour below thresholds. No relative utility impacts there. Overall period, not really too busy. Numerous good project weather days this period, but they're pretty much all associated with higher fire danger, except in those winds that are very light and variable. The best project weather days looks like it'll be Monday as well as Wednesday and through the day on Saturday. It looks like that Wednesday through Saturday period, 4 days of nice stretch of weather there. And looking at the European model of 6-hourly panels here, pretty chilly weather off to the north, a little bit warmer to the south, and we see along the baroclinic zone here a frontal boundary that's going to be playing with us. And so this moves on through. That's the day on Tuesday with the best potential for any kind of wet snow accumulation down across southern Vermont. Temperatures, incidentally, will be in that sort of a 33 to 38 degree zone there, which will allow some accumulation in the upper elevations where there could be 3-4 inches in some spots there. Beyond that, we clear on out. We really have no real issues. You notice there's a Canadian maritime area of low pressure, and this is going to be really the main influence on our weather and kind of pushing things off to the south of us. That's good because this is about the time of the year we start seeing thunderstorms move in. That's the next chance for any kind of precipitation in southern Vermont after Tuesday. That'll happen along about Sunday, just beyond this period. So typically when cold air comes in from the north, it suppresses a lot of the storm systems to the south. And indeed, there's a little bit of a baroclinic zone setting up here where we'll have a little bit of a storm track. You can see that precipitation is really suppressed off to the south, and we're barely into that mode here with very little in the way of precip to the north. Maximum temperatures for the next 5 days, you can see there running about anywhere from around 9 to 12 degrees, and a little bit warmer to the south and east of us. And 3 days later, still pretty cold, weighted anyway. And as mentioned, there's your 24 inches, 2 feet on the level. That is recorded atop Mount Mansfield. And a bit interesting to look back and see, this is where we are here, and that was our maximum snowfall of the year. That actually occurred in the first part of April. You can see this is the averages, and we're going to probably see a pretty sharp drop off from here on out. And temperature schematic going into next Sunday morning. You can see today's high temperature, tonight's low, and big diurnal ranges continue until we get into basically Monday night and Tuesday. A little bit of a colder scenario here, potentially a little bit of snow in this period here, especially central and southern Vermont. Looks like a lot of northern Vermont gets missed on this, but that could change. And then we see a slight pickup. Temperatures basically closer to seasonal norms as we get into the late part of the week. And the GFS ensemble shows the Monday night to Tuesday weather system moving on in, and it is sort of a mix of rain and snow. Indeed, a little bit of winter coming back at us, and not a whole lot beyond that. That's it from here. Roger Hill, Wuthering Heights.